Well, I do know that I have some friends who have used it. I've known about it for a number of years. My parents practice it, and as a Catholic, it's just something that I've learned. I'm currently practicing it myself now. I'm engaged, so I've been practicing it for about 10 months or so just to kind of learn the model and learn a lot about my health and prepare for my wedding in about a month or so. Before I started practicing this model, I do the Creighton model, I was pretty ignorant. I had an idea that basically there are certain times of the month where a woman was fertile and the other times they weren't, and as long as you stayed within those boundaries, you were probably okay, but it's actually so much more than that. There's so much that goes into tracking, and it's not that it's incredibly difficult. There's just a lot of detail that you can pay attention to really show signs of your fertility and your ability to conceive, or if you're wanting to avoid a pregnancy. But from a scientific perspective, you just learn a lot about the status of your health. I've learned about certain signs that come out in some of the symptoms you're supposed to track that reveal things that maybe aren't optimal health, and they've caused me, or my NFP consultant has actually referred me to a NAPRO doctor, and this doctor is trained in NAPRO technology, in which she has an extensive knowledge about a woman's cycle and whether or not to intervene through natural progesterone to just limit symptoms and take care of the root of the problem. Because I know there's a lot of people that use birth control to cover up a lot of symptoms, such as really bad acne or very horrible menstrual cramps and things like that. By using this model, I've really been able to pinpoint when symptoms happen, and then in talking to a doctor, actually find solutions that treat the root of what's going on, whether it be changing my diet, and like I had mentioned earlier, the natural progesterone or things like that I would never have known of otherwise, and they're solutions to the root, which I love. By using it for the past year, as an engaged person, I'm obviously not, and I'm not married, so I'm not sexually active, but I am actually practicing the model, which has done two things for me. One has been revealed a ton about my health as a woman, health related to fertility, my cycle, things that frankly we just don't talk about a lot in our culture. And a lot of honestly has been revealed about my fertility and my health as a woman that will ultimately help me when I get married and actually do want to start a family, because things have come up that have suggested concerns about my ability to conceive or hold a pregnancy or anything that could affect something like that I've actually been able to see a doctor for, which without practicing NFP for a couple months at least, I wouldn't really know about. So it was actually incredibly revealing and surprising, and it's just cool. It's really cool to learn that stuff. And then secondly, as an engaged person, specific to engaged couples, I've noticed that as I've learned NFP, my fiance has also done it. We go to the same meetings together to learn about the model together and have a ton of conversations that we wouldn't have otherwise. So a lot of things have come up that have caused us to have to communicate about values and what we believe about certain things, and any potential issues or things that we maybe don't see eye to eye on, or just frankly really awesome communication has come from it, and we're not even married yet. So it's actually pretty cool to see what it's already been able to offer. So I'm excited to continue. I believe there's a huge lack of awareness to the availability, or the honestly, to the amount of options there are to practice NFP, because just like different birth control solutions or whatnot, there's a ton of different natural family planning models, and each one fits a different woman. They all have different ways to be used that are more convenient for certain lifestyles or whatnot, and I think that's incredibly just kind of ignored, or just really not really well known. Frankly, I'm just learning about these things, and I'm very surprised at how many options there are. I started practicing it just because I'm going to get married, so I wanted to learn some sort of method to prepare. And what I ended up learning was not totally just related to whether or not I can conceive or avoid a pregnancy. I learned so much about the health of my body. And there are, and I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to pretend to be able to spout out all these statistics, but I know that there are studies that show that birth control is not always healthy for a woman's just health in general. It can play around with your hormones. It can have a lot of side effects. And by practicing NFP, I was able to get a hold on who I am as a woman, my specific cycle, because every woman's is so different. It varies so much, where I may need to consult a doctor, where I do have optimal health. And nothing has happened other than the fact that I understand my health better and have been able to get help to address those things.